Today is very special because instead of a math video lesson, I get to do a science video lesson. And I think you know how much I love science, almost as much as I love dogs. But still, it's very close. Anyway, you're going to have two separate lessons that go with activities from your IPS packet. The first is all about life cycles, and in the IPS packet, it's plants. But your video today is going to have one on plants and one on animals. And then you will have a video teaching you about the phases of matter, because you're going to be working with solids, liquids, and gases in your packet today. Speaking of the life cycle of plant, I wanted to show you our plants. Holy moly. Okay, let's do a little math real fast before I show you them. Today is April 27th, and I planted the seeds on April 14th. So 27 minus 14. Real quick. Ready? 13. 13 days. Now, I told you we are doing peas and beans because they grow very easily and very quickly, which works for the classroom. You ready for this craziness? Okay. Now here's in one of the big sacks. I'm not even taking them out. Check that out. Now you guys probably know I have pretty big hands. So if you put my hands next to there, they're already halfway up my hand. And that's the pea plants. Now, you ready for real craziness? Here comes the beans. These are going to be green beans. I think I'm going to have a ton of green beans this year. This is just one bag. Look at that already. In less than 2 weeks. Other seeds that I have planted, they're just tiny little babies. And look at these. Then put them next to the peas. Holy moly, I'm shocked. Now, we're going to be actually taking a couple of the bean plants, and this is what we're going to experiment with later. But I just wanted to show you. Here's a pair of them. Let me separate. Okay, check that out. So, we started as a little seed for the first phase of our life cycle, and then it sprouted. And I had showed you those during our Zoom meeting last week, those itty-bitty sprouts that came up. And I mean, we barely have any tiny sprouts anymore. Let's see what I got here. This one's close to what a sprout would look like, because here's the ground. So this would be the baby that we'd be seeing. And there's our sprout. And then this would be the ground. We've got very well-developed roots, and our plant is growing. You can definitely tell he's grown a lot. So here's a young one, and here's another. And they were at the same time, just one of them came out of their seed faster. So this guy's been growing longer. And now Teddy's over here thinking that he's going to steal a bean plant or two. Can't let him do that. But anyway, I was very excited to be able to do science, and I hope you enjoy the slideshows that go with each. And we will, in May, well, actually, those are growing stuff, but yeah, May, about a week from now, we'll start experimenting with the needs of a plant. We won't do that with animals. I would be heartbroken if we did anything that would hurt an animal. But I'll go ahead and do it with a plant. Don't tell anyone. All right, bye, guys. Hello, welcome to today's science lesson on the life cycle of plants. And today we're specifically doing the life cycle of a pumpkin. The cycle starts with a pumpkin seed. Specifically, again, this is all about pumpkins, but it works. Most of the parts of the cycle go with any plant. Then the seed begins to grow into a pumpkin sprout. Again, this goes with most plants. The sprout grows into a pumpkin vine. Now this stage of the life cycle is unique to plants that have vines only. Not all plants have vines. Then the vine grows yellow flowers. The yellow flowers turn into small green pumpkins. Can you see it at the base of the flower, that itty bitty pumpkin? The green pumpkin grows and grows and turns orange. When you cut a pumpkin open, you can keep some seeds to plant. Then you can have more pumpkins to pick next fall. And then the cycle comes back with that seed. Welcome to today's lesson on life cycles. This time, we're going to do it on something different than a plant. What kind of things do you think you would find in a pond? And by the way, this was my pond at the first house I ever owned all by myself. I just love that pond. I was full of different things, and what do you think I might have had? We're going to look at the life cycle of a frog. There's many other things in a pond, but we're going to focus on the frog. Let's check out his life cycle, starting as an egg. After egg, we read it around like a clock. Comes the embryo, then tadpole, tadpole with 2 legs, tadpole with 4 legs, frog. And from the frog, we can get more eggs that starts the life cycle again. Now, let's look at each stage closer. Here we have an adult frog, and what's he got with him? These are my babies. The first stage of their lives are as eggs. Frog eggs are in wet, slimy sacs. Here, we can look a little closer. Now, what was this stage again? Say it out loud and then see if you are correct. Ready? Stage egg. In this picture, notice how the eggs are suspended in the water. They float in a group, and they don't just lay on the bottom. They may be at the bottom, hanging at the top, or they could be in between, and that is suspended in the water. New vocabulary, suspended. All right, let's keep going. Do you notice any changes? Look closely. How about now? The little black portion inside, not all of them are perfectly round anymore. So do you remember what stage this is? As they start to change inside the egg, we have the embryo. The embryo. Say that with me. Embryo. All right, moving on. What's happened now? Do you notice they're no longer in their egg sac and they are free? So now they're no longer called an embryo. What was that next stage? You ready? Tadpole. These are now called tadpoles. They look a lot like what was inside the egg sac, but now they're free of the egg sac. Look closely at the tadpoles. What can you see? Be careful, they might look like something else. They should maybe remind you of our axes. You should see the gills. Our new vocabulary word for this would be gills. Do you see how they look kind of feathery coming out? You might have thought those were arms or legs, but first off, they don't ever have arms. But second, those are not legs yet. But what's happening now? Look very closely. Hint, look kind of where the tail meets the body. Do you see those little stubs? How about now, as those stubs got a little bit bigger back there? Do you notice he has his 2 hind legs now? Do you remember what this stage was called? Ready? Tadpole with 2 legs. Pretty simple to remember. You just got to remember tadpole and how many legs. What's changed now? Do you remember what this stage is called? Kind of like the last one, except noting the difference. We should see his hind legs and his forelegs. Forelegs is F-O-R-E, meaning front. They don't have arms and legs. They have just legs. And kind of heard the answer. The stage is coming slowly. Tadpole with 4 legs. What is this tadpole beginning to look like? And what is he now? What is this stage? Ready? The stage is frog. Or, in general, for the animals, this would be his adult stage. I keep saying his, but it could be a her. And this particular frog lived at my pond, and he was one of my favorites. He stayed with me for many years, and he got to be huge, and he was very loud. And he would come up on the patio by my backsliding door out of the pond at night. I thought he was very cool. Moving on. I hope you enjoyed learning about my life cycle. You can go back and watch any of this video or the one about pumpkins to help you with today's lesson on life cycles. Remember, you can't cut out and glue like the directions say because they copied them front to back. So you could just draw them into the spaces. Bye, guys. Hello and welcome to today's science lesson on solids, liquids, and gases. What's the matter? Matter is material made up of millions and millions of tiny atoms or molecules that fit together to form larger things like animals and planets and cars. Matter includes the water we drink, the air we breathe, and the chair we are sitting on. States or phases of matter. Matter usually exists in one of 3 states or phases: solid, liquid, gas. The chair you are sitting on is a solid, the water you drink is a liquid, and the air you breathe is a gas. Changing state. The atoms and molecules don't change, but the way they move about does. Water, for example, is always made up of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. However, it can take the state of a liquid, solid, ice, and gas, steam. Matter changes state when more energy gets added to it. Energy is often added in the form of heat or pressure. Let's look at water. Its solid form, solid water, is called ice. This is water with the lowest energy and temperature. When solid, the molecules in water are held tightly together and don't move easily. Liquid. Liquid water is just called water. As ice heats up, it will change phases to liquid water. Liquid molecules are looser and can move about easily. Gas. Gas water is called steam or vapor. When water boils, it will turn to vapor. These molecules are hotter, looser, and moving faster than the liquid molecules. They are more spread apart and can be compressed or squished. Here are the 3 states of water: solid, liquid, gas. Again, solid is ice for water. Liquid, we just call it water. And in its gas form, it is steam or vapor. You should recognize some of these as our water cycle when we looked at how water changes throughout the water cycle. Here's a bonus for you: more states of matter. There are actually 2 more states or phases that matter can take but we don't see them much in our everyday life. One is called plasma. Plasma occurs at very high temperatures and can be found in stars and lightning bolts. Plasma is like gas, but the molecules have lost some electrons and become ions. Again, very high temperatures. Another state has the fancy name Bose-Einstein condensates. This state can occur at super low temperatures. So, most of our world will see solid, liquids, and gases, but when the temperatures get extremely high, we have plasma, and when they get extremely low, we get the Bose-Einstein condensates. And again, those temperatures aren't reached often in our regular world. Fun facts: solids, liquids, and gases. Gases are often invisible and assume the shape and volume of their container. The air we breathe is made up of different gases, but it is mostly nitrogen and oxygen. We can see through some solids, like glass. When liquid gasoline is burned in a car, it turns into various gases which go into the air from the exhaust pipe. Fire is a mixture of hot gases. Plasma is by far the most abundant state of matter in the universe because stars are mostly plasma. This information was brought to you by Ducksters. You can find them at duckster.com. There is an activity if you go to the phases of matter and take a quiz about what you've learned in this slideshow. There are also more chemistry subjects, but overall there are a ton of history, biography, geography, science, and games. Check it out.